Okay, we're back. All right. We're back and we're ready to go. Welcome in, everybody.
Is behind this reporting. So, Zach, what are you and our colleagues learning?
Yeah, Casey, we're told that the U.S. military has actually burned through more of its stockpile of key munitions than we previously thought. And it's prompting senior military commanders to issue warnings that those levels, those inventory levels, are now dangerously low. That was a quote from one of the sources to me, Jim Sciutto and Haley Britsky. And look, specifically, we're told that 80% of the U.S. stockpile of interceptors for a key air defense system known as THAAD, that those have been used up during the Iran war so far, just in 5 months of this conflict. And that's a staggering number. That's higher than the percentage that we had believed was true just weeks ago, where it was more around 60%. But that is an important system because it's the primary means, along with the Patriot missiles, that the U.S. is able to counter and take down ballistic missiles. And it's not just used by the U.S. military, it's also used by some of its key allies, including some in the Middle East, namely Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. And so we're also told, in addition to those staggering low number of THAAD left in the U.S. stockpiles, that the U.S. has also gone through 50% of its Patriot interceptors. And to put that in perspective, the U.S. had about 2,000 Patriot missiles in its inventory before the war started. It has about half that number now. And so we've known that this is a concern that's been raised by General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, in these meetings with President Trump, where they've discussed options for potentially escalating the conflict. We know that Gulf countries in particular have voiced concerns also about how this stockpile shortage might impact their ability to defend themselves against Iranian retaliation if Trump does move forward with some sort of an escalation. So this is an important thread to watch, and one that's been a persistent concern for weeks now.
Joining me now, CNN senior military analyst and former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, retired Admiral James Stavridis. Thank you so much for being here. If indeed nearly 80% of THAAD and half of our Patriot missile stock is gone since the Iran war began, how would you describe that? What does that mean?
Dangerous, in one word. And it's not only dangerous in the context of the Middle East, Sarah. It's dangerous in the context of Ukraine and dangerous in the context of Taiwan. Let me explain. What we're talking about here, and you're showing a picture of some of these ground-to-air defense missiles that go up and shoot down incoming ballistic missiles, drones, cruise missiles even. And if it is true, and you have to factor into this the denials from the Pentagon that are coming out, but if it's true that we're down 80%, we will be unable to fully help our allies in the Gulf, the Arab countries, and Israel defend themselves. We will be unable to provide any air defense interceptors to Ukraine, which will mean their war against Russia will go less well. And we will not have interceptors available to deter China. So bottom line, if this is true,
Trump is now floating, firing Supreme Court justices he doesn't like. Hasn't he already fired a few, or not really?
Numbers, it's dangerous. And I know the combatant commanders around the world, which I used to be, both in Europe and in Latin America, are very concerned.
I do want to ask you about just how long it takes to replenish, to rebuild some of these munitions, and what that also means, because in the meantime, Iran is using cheaply made things like drones to combat very expensive equipment that the United States is having to use. Give us some sense of the timeline of trying to replenish these.
You've put your finger on the real problem here. And by the way, it's not just air defense weapons. There are credible reports that some of our precision strike weapons, offensive weapons, like ATACMS, like Tomahawk missiles, like precision strike missiles, these are also being depleted. So the problem, as you correctly point out, Sarah, is not only are they very expensive, but they are also long timelines to replenish. So you're not talking weeks, you're not talking months, you're talking years to rebuild these inventories. Now, the Pentagon is keenly aware of this aspect of things, is pushing the defense industrial base very hard to accelerate all this. We've done this before in other conflicts, but that's a challenge. Time is of the essence here. Joining us now to discuss, Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, who sits on the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, thank you so much for being here in the arena. I want to first start with that reporting that Zach just laid out there about the level to which these stockpiles have been depleted. What are the implications in your view?
Well, Casey, thanks for a chance to be on again. The implications of a real challenge to what's called our magazine depth, or the number of our precision strike missiles and our interceptors, is that it weakens the United States. It weakens our hand in being prepared to defend our treaty allies in the Western Pacific, to defend our homeland, and to defend our critical allies and partners in Europe and the Middle East. This is not a new problem. We have had challenges with procuring these expensive, exquisite munitions for a long time. Last year's appropriations bill, where I'm the senior Democrat for defense appropriations, we authorized multi-year procurement of several key munitions and moved billions of dollars into those lines. Frankly, when the president chose to launch a war of choice more than 5 months ago in the Middle East, one of the challenges I am certain that his senior military advisors briefed him on was that the Iranians were going to launch thousands of cheap, lethal drones at our facilities, our bases, our embassies, and our allies and partners, and we would use incredibly expensive, exquisite, and rare munitions to intercept them or to defend against them with counterstrikes. So this is a challenge we have faced for some time. Countries like Iran have learned how to make drones that cost relatively little, and we are still using very expensive munitions to stop them.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is denying CNN's reporting. He's saying it's not true. He's saying we don't hate the fake news media enough. Now, Gulf allies, however, are raising concerns about how the shortage could impact their ability to defend against Iranian retaliation if President Trump decides to, say, escalate the ongoing conflict. And adding to the urgency, Iran is now threatening to attack U.S. vessels in the region. So we're bringing in Becca Wasser to the group chat. She's the defense lead at Bloomberg Economics. Okay, so we've got the head of the military saying it's not true. There is no shortage or diminished supply. What say you? Do people know in the world of military analysts?
All right, so the U.S. isn't out of missiles, but it is running incredibly low of certain types of missiles. So it is running dangerously low of air defense interceptors, those THAAD interceptors, Patriot, and those are needed to protect U.S. forces, U.S. allies, and the American homeland.
And to clarify, because especially in Iran, where they're shooting off really cheap drones, they shoot off their cheap drone that's like $30,000, and then we use our very expensive missiles to shoot that down.
To shoot them down. And usually this is missile-to-missile ballistic defense as opposed to counter-drone defenses at this juncture in time. But those are incredibly important.
Wow. THAAD missile interceptors, $12.7 million per unit. Wow.
And then the U.S. is also running low of some of its long-range standoff munitions, the missiles that it uses to essentially prosecute war from afar and keep forces safe. And so all of this matters is because whenever you put forward a potential operation, let's say if President Trump decided he wanted, options for escalation again, you have to say what is the risk to mission and what are the risks to forces. And without some of those critical air defense interceptors and some of those other long-range munitions, that risk to forces grows enormously.
The thing I've been hearing, though, is munitions are made to be used, and we are in a war. We are also here and there, when we decide to, helping Ukraine, right, in its war against Russia. So is it the concern that this is a problem for the war we are in right now, or is it, what I often hear, this sort of future scenario around Asia and China in the Indo-Pacific?
It's both. Right now, the U.S. is probably
Salam, Amira.
constrained in its
Hey,
operational
Kepi.
options in Iran.
Wait, say that in English. Constrained in its
Constrained
operational...
in what it can do. So if President Trump says, bring me options for the next phase of the war, some of those options are going to be a lot more limited than they were a few days ago. And then if we're looking for, the U.S. global role, the U.S. doesn't have enough missiles and munitions to protect itself and its allies. Plus, if you're looking to future conflict, these missiles take years and years and years to build. This is a generational gap that cannot be overcome in a short amount of time, and that has major implications for U.S. military power and security around the globe.
And security around the globe. What she means is U.S. imperialism. I think this is great. This is great news. It just means that America now has to think about its engagements, how it uses its military. It's all good stuff, man. Like, America shouldn't be allowed to just use its military, and it seems to have worn itself out. Excellent. Excellent. It's a good thing. America shouldn't be allowed to just unilaterally carry out military operations, kill so many people, and no one can stop them. So we're starting to see the limits of American power, which is great. How 30 nations prepare for potential war with China and North Korea. Wall Street Journal. Ominous reporting. Just ominous reporting, everybody. Of tabs open with videos, and it's just taking up caching. It's taking up it's filling up my cache basically on my machine. So whenever that happens, it just drops. I'll fix it for the evening live, but hopefully it won't happen in the next couple of hours. But in the evening live, I'll fix it before then. Liberal cope, yeah, Zachary, are you okay with me calling it liberal cope? About doesn't matter. Aren't libs coping like fucking crazy at the moment? Because they keep losing elections, and libs want to be fascist so badly that libs on TV are saying they're going to go Republican if the DSA keeps winning in America. Like, come on, Zachary. Do you need me to explain this shit to you? Not in the way the fascists talk about it. Yeah. Hey, Roshan, welcome. I don't know. I think fascists are starting to like the libs because they're all saying the same shit now.
On board as well. We'll have Ospreys who will do the...
Zachary, did you just test me? Was that a test? Was I purity tested in real time?
The carrier onboard delivery.
God dang, I'm gonna be flying my plane. I'm gonna be flying my plane, putting missiles and Arabs in the Middle East. We about to fly over Pakistan and god dang shoot some brown children. Cause that's what we do. We're America. God dang missiles. You see those missiles there? Straight and hard, baby. Straight and hard. We about to launch them straight and hard, right at those dang children, like Epstein. I call them Epstein missiles, because we about to fuck up some children, some brown children, god damn it. Let's go, Merca, woo-ha! These missiles right here, you see these missiles right here? They fuck some shit up. And I'm about ready to launch them. Right up in Rakistan's ass. God damn it. You hear me? Them motherfuckers gonna pay the price.
Follow a detective.
Hey, Commander, get here right now. How badly you want to bomb those Iraqistanis? Yeah, damn it. Dang right. Straight and hard, baby. Let's go. Straight and hard. Yeehaw. God dang, we need this technology. I need to go high. I need to go fast. I need to go hard. And we need to be coordinated, folks. Because them goddamn brown kids in Iraqistan, they're savvy. They got all sorts of shit. They throwing rocks and shit. God dang. Brown children throwing rocks. We blow them little motherfuckers up. God damn it. All this technology to blow up a few brown kids. Yeehaw! America, baby. Let's go. Hard and fast. High and slow. Long and straight. High and fast. Long and slow. Straight and fast. Or some shit. We're coming for you. Brown child. We're coming for you. God damn.
Say, this is the third installment of Rim Pack. Oh my gosh. They come up with the dumbest names, eh? It's like
Operation Midnight Hammer. Right in the rim. Right in the Pacific Rim. China, we about to grab you by the Pacific Rim, bitch. You think Iran can just grab us by the Hormuz and just get away with it? Goddamn! Hell no! Hard and true and straight and fast. Hard and true and straight. God dang!
this is racist at this point? Racist against Americans? iBang Yobi, I think you're in the wrong channel, bro. I think you're in the wrong channel, bud. The Nazis a couple of swipes. America bombs people, mass murders children. White supremacy continues to murder brown people at like brown and black people around the world due to its like shitty ideology. And then you get these white supremacists coming in and go, oh, you're so hateful for talking about white supremacy and the military-industrial complex. Bro, get the fuck out. Yeah, bro. White supremacy is bad. White supremacy is bad, buddy.
Of Impact goes beyond.
Stop being such a little Van Yobi dude. Listens to fucking listens to Nick Fuentes. He's like, oh, stop being so racist, man. God damn it. And then logs on to a Nick Fuentes rant. Bro, fuck these people, bro. Fuck these people. These little snowflakes. I'm not conservative and I'm not white either, but genuinely crazy rhetoric telling me I listen to loser influencers like Fuentes based on nothing. Bro, racist? You don't even understand what racism is. Report away, buddy. Report away. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, dipshit. I see you're still here. Yeah. Why are you staying, bro? Why are you staying? Oh my gosh. These people are so... By the way, I do not believe this person is not white, by the way. I do not believe this person is not white. They are lying. They're lying. Another snowflake bites the dust. Get the fuck out.
Yikes. Yikes is the...
Yeah, come on. Come on. Right now. Right now. I'm on Discord. You can add me. I'm on Discord. You can add me. Let's talk about your politics, dipshit. Come on. Come on, Snowflake. Come up. Add me on Discord. I'll invite you. We can chat. Don't be a coward now. Send me your number. No, bro. I'm not going to give you my phone number, fuckface. I'm not going to give you my phone number. Add me on Discord. Download Discord. Bro, I'm not going to dox myself to some asshole on the internet. Add me on Discord.
Word. Okay, take a look at this. The moderate GOP on Trump. This includes leaners. This is about 30 to 40% of the party, depending on how you exactly look at it. Versus Kamala Harris. Trump easily was winning amongst them by 69 points back in October of 2024. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at this decline in Lake Erie. I mean,
I'm not creating Discord. Yeah, you're a pussy. I knew you were a pussy. You want me to dox myself to you, pussy? Bro, jump on Discord. Let's go. Or jump on TikTok, bro. I'll get you. Jump on TikTok then. You can watch my live on TikTok, dipshit. Look, everybody sees who you are. Don't do TikTok either. Yeah, obviously. Because you're a fucking pussy.
I mean, right now we're talking about just a plus 10 net approval rating. This is within his own party. He's just barely above water. Do the quick math with me. That's 69, 10. That's a 59-point drop. That is 5 and 9 in the court.
You can do dual. Okay. Yeah. Why don't we do dual stream on Twitch, bro? You want to do a dual stream on Twitch? You have Twitch. Why not dual stream, buddy? Let's go. Do a dual stream on Twitch, dipshit. The reason why he doesn't want to is he doesn't want to show his face on camera. Sorry, I don't use Twitch. Yeah.
Course of under 2 years. So moderate Republicans abandoning Donald John Trump, and that is a big...
The biggest fucking pussy in the world. What a pussy.
Big uh-oh.
And where and why?
Why? Well, you were mentioning it in your intro, right? It's the economy. You think a 59-point drop is a lot? How about this one? Okay. Woo! This is a 77-point drop. Okay, moderate GOP on Trump and the economy. Back in October of 2024, he was more trusted than Kamala Harris by 80 points. Now he's just 1, 2, 3 points above water. That is, as I said, a 77-point drop on the key issue that got Donald Trump reelected to a second term, where the Republican Party was lockstep and key with him. Moderate Republicans have abandoned Donald Trump.
What is up with these guys? Guys, was that chips? Can we just check if that is chips? Because if that's chips, that's just more bullshit. We need to capture that, mods.
And now he is just treading water with a group that overwhelmingly supported him.
And to reinforce, this isn't overall. This is with moderate Republicans within his party.
Correct.
We're seeing this.
This is coming over to your side of the screen. Okay. Moderate Republicans within his own party. We are talking about moderates, and they make up about 30 to 40% of.
Bro, this chips guy is such a fucking dickhead. He's probably done this to other people as well. This chips dude, he's like, oh, stop being racist against whites. And he started doing that on TikTok. Started doing this racist against whites bullshit. And then he attacked me on X. And lo and behold, the guy fucking watches Nick Fuentes. Like, it's raging racist, bro. These snowflakes come in the chat. And they get all pissed off, all pissy because their little fucking snowflake feelings got hurt. And then you go look at their fucking history, and it's all just white supremacist bullshit. All just white supremacist bullshit. All of it.
Okay, and where in the economy? Why is when it comes to the economy, where in the economy is it hurting most?
Yeah, okay, so you see these positives. Even though Trump has dropped tremendously, we've seen some positives on this side of the screen, right? All right, how about time for some negatives? Okay, moderate Republicans, Trump's net approval. On Iran, he's 6 points underwater within his own party, You think that's low? How about 17 points underwater on inflation? Inflation was the name of the game with the economy back in 2024. Now, moderate Republicans, who make up roughly 30 to 40% of the party, have absolutely left Donald Trump aside, and he is underwater on the key issue of the day. If I'm a Republican running for Congress in those swing districts, I need those moderate Republicans, and they are leaving Donald Trump. They may be leaving those Republican candidates as well. This is the best look.
Ultimately, white supremacists are pussies because they are never, ever going to do anything of value by themselves. They can't. They need their little group of fucking groypers to do anything. These idiots have zero spine. If I went up to this dude in public, if I went up to this guy and he stepped to me, I would knock the living frittatas out of him. Hey, Candace. Hello, Candace. He would be scared. Pussy.
Looking polling for Democrats in the Senate race since really the 20th century. You're going to have to go back probably the late 80s, the last time they won a Senate race out.
Who we knocking frittatas off of? White supremacists, groypers. It's funny because he said he didn't want to install Discord when you could use any browser and join Discord. Yeah, just idiot.
There when it was Lloyd Bentsen winning in 1988, because just take a look here. This polling looks so much different than it did 8 years ago. You take a look here, James Tallarico, the latest poll against Ken Paxton, he's actually up by 3 points. Look at where the race was between Beto O'Rourke and Ted Cruz at this point in the 2018 cycle. Ted Cruz was ahead by 6. This is very different. The Democrat here is doing 9 points better. And what is supercharging that? Look at this. Independents moved from tie to plus 39 points for James Tallarico. Independents, the name of the game, shifting significantly to the left camp and supercharging James Tallarico. It could be real.
By the way, James Tallarico is he's lib, isn't he? He's pretty lib. He's libbed up. I think he's spoken a little bit about Israel, but he still hasn't called what Israel is doing a genocide. He feels like a Gavin Newsom-esque lib.
Single time I look at the poll and going, this can't be right. This could be very, very real. Democrats have a real shot in Texas.
So 26 different than 2018. Ted Cruz, again, who won, but it was very, very close.
Very close, less than 3 points.
How is Ted Cruz different than Paxton?
How is Ted Cruz different than Ken?
To be fair, though, Ted Cruz losing would be an all-timer. Watching Ted Cruz lose would be an all-timer.
Paxton, simply put, Ted Cruz is popular. Ken Paxton is not popular at all. That is, I think, one of the biggest differences in this race. Take a look here. The GOP nominee's net favorability. In July of 2018, Ted Cruz was 8 points above water. His favorable was 8 points above his unfavorable rating. Look at this side of the screen. Very different indeed. Ken Paxton, 6 points underwater with, get this, among independents, 47 points underwater. No wonder that you're seeing major issues for Ken Paxton in this race so far.
How's the president doing in Texas?
Well, here's the other thing that's going on. How's the president doing in Texas? The president is supercharging Democratic possibilities across red states. Remember, Donald Trump won Texas by double digits, but now he's 9 points underwater. He was slightly underwater back.
Newsom used to be a Republican, so I'm not surprised he's a moderate Dem. Yeah.
In 2018, but he's much further underwater right now in the great state of Texas.
So Texas, if it were to flip, would be fairly key for the math for Democrats to tie to take back the Senate. What are the prediction markets saying right now about those chances?
You know, all of a sudden you put Texas in play. You put places like Iowa, Ohio in play. You know, you're talking about Alaska being potentially in play. Look at this chance to win the Senate. Now it's basically an even race. Republicans were 3-2 favorites a month ago. Look at where we are right now. Now Republicans' chances have fallen significantly, just a 53% chance to hold on to the United States Senate. Democrats have a real shot indeed.
It's going to be a pretty tense few months here.
Just look at this. It has been a steady decline, like a slide going into the sea. You know, you go back January 2025, +6. May of 2025, -7. September of 2025, -8. December of 2025, -13. April of 2026, -17. And now in an average of polls, he is 21 points under water.
Why are you clapping like this? Why are we speaking like this? Why are we speaking this way?
This is the lowest he has been in term number 2. The bottom line is this: Trump is at record lows for himself in term number 2. He is very much underwater, despite whatever he is claiming up in his head of his.
A slide going into the sea. Evocative imagery there from Harry. When did this slide begin?
When did this slide begin? When did Trump slide into the sea begin? I mean, just take a look here. I mean, you know, it'd be one thing, again, if we were talking about just one poll, but we're talking about the average of polls. But when we're talking about one poll, is there any poll that has Trump anywhere close to positive territory? Take a look here. Trump's negative net approval rating. Every single poll that meets CNN standards for publication has had Donald Trump underwater in the negative since March 29th of 2025. Days in a row, it is 494, nearly 500 days in which Donald Trump has had a negative net approval rating. He's not anywhere close to positive.
The Lou Gehrig of presidents in
He
terms
is the
of
Lou Gehrig, the Cal Ripken of negative ratings.
But people would say, hey, look, you know, the president had low approval ratings in his first term also.
Not this low. Not this low. Take a look here. Trump's net approval rating at this point. In term 1 at this point, he was 12 points underwater. He is now broken the 20-point barrier in the negative, minus 20 points. And you know I always love a little nugget here. Goes from -8 to -47 points with independents who are driving this.
And what do the prediction markets say this means about his chances of maintaining control of the House?
Yeah, okay. If you have a negative 21 net approval rating, there's no way your party controls the House if this holds until Election Day. Chance to win the House, Democrats now up to an 84% chance, up from 73% just a few months ago. Republicans now with just a 16% chance, according to the cash prediction markets. Trump's negative net approval rating is driving this. Max Miller is going to cost his party, most likely cost his party a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives when we're talking about the politics of this. You could see this quite well in the cash prediction market. Chance to win Ohio, 7. Look at this. Poindexter, the Democrat, 37% on July 25th. Over the last few weeks, his chances way up to 70%. Max Miller's chances, look at this, falling down through the floor, falling into Lake Erie, going from 64% now down to 30%. What seemed like a race that was favoring Miller is now favoring the Democrat Poindexter. As
there's a dude named Poindexter. There's a dude named Poindexter.
This scandal has hit the press.
And just note, this was 10 days ago.
This is 10 days ago.
This is not that long ago.
No.
That's a huge change in just a few days. And Harry, you and I have been talking about this. Is there a way to measure the impact that scandals have on House races?
Yeah, scandals matter.
Isn't Poindexter? Why would his parents do that to? It's his last name. Yeah. Isn't that like a Little Rascal or something? Poindexter? Isn't there a famous child character, Poindexter?
Scandals matter. I know a lot of people think nothing matters, but scandals still do matter in our politics, and there's an easy way to see it. Okay, House members reelected in 2022 and 2024. All members, we're talking about 85%, including those who, in fact, did not run for re-election. When you include those in the denominator, we're talking about 85%. How about members who are involved in a scandal? Look at that, significantly lower. Just 57% of them who are involved in a scandal. So they do about 30 points worse on their chance of being re-elected than all members of Congress do. So scandals absolutely do matter, like the scandal that we're seeing right now in Ohio 7.
How much interest is there in what's happening with Max Miller?
Yeah, more than that, there is a lot of interest in what's going on in his home area. You can see it in the Google searches. Take a look here.
Wow.
Google searches for Max Miller. Look at this. In Cleveland, the Akron area, which is his home area, look at that. John said, wow, up 3,200% in just the last 2 weeks. This is by far the record high for Max Miller in his home area. The people there are listening to what is going on with Max Miller, and obviously the stories are not flattering to him whatsoever.
And I said, this is a Trump district, a Republican district, but is it as Republican maybe, or what are the trends in Ohio?
Yeah, I think this is so important. This is already shaping up to be a bad Republican year in Ohio. When you have a scandal to tack onto it, no wonder the prediction markets have moved like they have. Take a look here. Ohio voters on Trump. In 2024 versus Kamala Harris, he won by 11 points. Look at his net popularity rating now. Exactly right, Johnny B. Minus 13 points. That's a nearly 25-point shift in under 2 years. And keep in mind, Ohio 7 voted like Ohio as a whole. So what is going on in Ohio very much will seep down to Ohio 7. You put it all together, it is no wonder why I said at the top of this, Max Miller, already running in a tough environment with this scandal, and if he continues to run, will likely cost his party a House seat.
Ukraine's president.
Oh! Okay. I've got, hey, Scars. We've just had a racist come in, and I'm like, why the fuck do racists have to come to my chat? You know? Why do we need these pussy white supremacists to come to my chat? Why? You know, why can't they just stay the fuck away? We can always give them less comments and more timeouts / blocks. Yeah, I don't know what the effective way to deal with these people are, because they come in and you don't really know what their intentions are. And they lie as well. Like, that guy was 100% not Indian. He got offended. He got offended with my accent. It was because he was a snowflake. I just don't know how to deal with these people. They just keep fucking coming in. We need a shared ban list. I need like a ban list, folks. I can't have these fucking people coming in all the time. What country do you live in now? Bro, get the fuck out, bro. Get out. Get out. Why are you here? We got another little fucking snowflake in the chat. Can we get rid of this person, please? It's 30 to 40% of Americans. You're not going to pre-ban them all. True.
President Zelensky has.
So I think we all tried at the same time. Oh, they come in. Those little punks. Okay, man. So Russia has been striking Ukraine heavily. Okay, heavy strikes on Ukraine. As soon as you mention them, boom. Boundaries and blocks. Sad Girl and Redolent have good shared lists. Yeah, I really need those. Like, I get worked up because I've got an automatic sort of switch that if a racist comes in, I have to stand up to them. If someone comes in and I can sniff the white supremacy, and I can, like, you know, make out that they're a little snowflake trying to what do you call it? Like, make me look bad. I just have to go at them. The only way I've known to deal with direct racism is without backing down. That's the only way I know how to deal with it. That's how I've dealt with it all of my life. So I have this like automatic switch. When I notice it, it's gone burger. These people will, you know, either they put their money where their mouth is. They put their money where their mouth is, or they fuck off. Like the Chips guy came onto, he came onto the panel and he got washed. He got washed. He was coming up with like the most bigoted talking points. And he was like, "Oh, bro, stop talking about white people. This is about the Jews in Israel, blah, blah, blah." Like, they didn't even acknowledge the oppression against Maori in Aotearoa, New Zealand, you know? Like, these are the types of people. And then they got fucked up, and he got so fragile that now he's created about 20 different accounts just harassing me for the last 5 months. Just been harassing me for the last 5 months because he got absolutely fucked. So like, they keep coming in, man. And Dino Cats. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, Dino Cats, but you know, it's a thing. That's insane. That guy's unstable. Yeah, he's dangerous, man. Dangerous. But hey, bro, like, never ever back down to racism. Never ever back down to racism. If my accent pissed off that person, it was because that person did not like looking in the mirror. They did not like it. They did not like me satirizing white supremacy. They did not like me satirizing the innate evil that's within American imperialism and white supremacy. They didn't like it. They didn't like it. And I know immediately when they come in like that, I know immediately who they are and what their intentions are. I know, bitch.
Ukraine's President Zelensky.
Sorry, like that was, you know, bitch in terms of the gender neutral bitch, not like feminine only, right? Like, it's the gender neutral bitch I'm talking about. Please don't call me misogynist, okay? I'm not a misogynist. I have misogynistic tendencies. Of course, I'm a man, and I have the tendencies. I can't run away from it. But this bitch I used was a gender neutral bitch.
Has appealed to allies to step up supplies of air defense missiles after one of the deadliest waves of Russian strikes, in which 21 people were killed, 17 in the capital Kyiv and surrounding areas. The UK's new Defence Secretary, Wes Streeting, was in Kyiv after the attacks and held talks with President Zelensky. Russian strikes are intensifying, with missiles launched at Ukraine up 83% over the last 31 days compared with the same period in 2025, according to BBC Verify analysis of Ukrainian Air Force data. Over the same time, it found the proportion of incoming missiles Ukraine intercepted fell from 2/3 to just under.
The only way I've been offended by you is that time you sang for us. Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness!
Half. Today, Ukraine again hit a warehouse owned by Russia's leading online retailer, with at least 20 such warehouses reportedly attacked since July the 18th. Dan Johnson is in Kyiv for us now. Dan.
I don't get offended. I never agree with men. Marit! Oh! Marit!
Yes, the last 24 hours have vividly illustrated to everyone here that despite all Ukraine's military achievements, its advancements in drone warfare and its success in taking the fight increasingly deeper into Russian territory, still the skies above Ukraine are not safe. We've seen an intensification of attacks by both sides, a ramping up and a new phase of this conflict, which means people here really are struggling now to sleep soundly at night. Kyiv hadn't seen a night like this for weeks. A deadly wave of ballistic missiles that came with little warning and no chance of interception. It wasn't just Kyiv, but this city felt the worst impact. Warehouses seemed to have been the main target, but homes were also hit.
We had the third floor, we had the roof.
There was another floor?
Yeah, it was another floor.
On the edge of the city, Anastasia's trying to work out if there's anything left.
It was so scary, I must say. This was my scariest night during the 5 years. My scariest night.
At the nearby railway station, 7 warehouse workers and a child were killed, having been evacuated from their building when the sirens sounded. There were 28 ballistic missiles fired by Russia last night, none of them intercepted by Ukrainian air defences. Is that because they've run out of interceptors? Is it because they're having to ration their supplies so carefully given the shortage? Ukraine's president called his military advisors together and he was clear. Lives are being lost because his country doesn't have enough missile interceptors.
We recognize that this is a major challenge. We made it through a difficult winter, but the reduction in supplies became more noticeable with each passing month. Today we are facing a clear shortage.
Welcome. So nice to see you. Nice to see you too.
Also in Ukraine's capital, the new British Defence Secretary, bringing moral support but no guarantees.
We've been looking very closely at Ukraine's requirements. We're working through a whole list of those requirements. Where the UK has the ability to provide, we will. And where we don't, it's my job to mobilise the international community to step up.
Another warehouse was ablaze south of Moscow last night, the next round of Ukraine's attacks on Russia's biggest online retailer. The Wildberries distribution network has been under repeated assault in recent weeks. Its workers have been killed. So were 7 Russian holidaymakers at this beach on Monday. Struck by a long-range Ukrainian drone believed to have been shot down. The Kremlin claims its citizens are being deliberately targeted. The Ukrainians insist not. But as this war ramps up, Vladimir Putin shuffled his military leadership, announcing a new head of drone forces to counter the growing threat. It is, though, the people of Ukraine who've been reminded that their skies remain vulnerable. And that's going to mean more nervous nights ahead. Dan Johnson, BBC News in Kyiv.
Oof. That's insane. Yeah. It's getting very, very, very bad. I have a feeling
Donald Trump.
By the way, there's been a lot of reporting around a large escalation by Russia, a large deployment, a large operation in September. So that's getting very close. Depending on how big this is, Putin is starting his recruitment drive into the military. Like, depending on how big this is, if Russia manages to break the front line, what is going to happen here, guys? What's going to happen? Russia isn't letting up. Russia is not letting up. I don't think the West has enough to hold this off. Honestly.
Donald Trump versus Europe. It's not on.
So this is why the US and EU rift is spilling into the Balkans. Again, Europe is getting squeezed from both ends. Europe is getting squeezed from both ends. Europe is getting squeezed by Russia, and the US is putting more pressure on the EU. And yeah, this is like a bit of analysis on the Balkans in particular. I think a really important area to keep an eye on, because yeah, the Balkans can be a very interesting location for sure for things to flare up.
Donald Trump versus Europe. It's not only about Greenland and NATO. There's another race playing out much more quietly. In the Balkans. The region was ravaged by the Yugoslav wars of the 1990s. In the past, the US and Europe pulled together to rebuild it. Today, they compete for power, money, and influence. So what does their rivalry mean for this fragile region? Could it destabilize the Balkans once again? We will be talking about Western Balkan countries. It's a term the European Union uses for 6 countries on its doorstep: Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Kosovo, North Macedonia, Albania, and Montenegro. The EU says they should all become members after a series of rule of law and market reforms. But they've been kind of stuck on the road there. And there are some big roadblocks, like simmering separatism in Bosnia and Herzegovina or the dispute between Serbia and Kosovo. For years, the US backed the Western Balkans' integration into the EU.
We are united in our goals to see you in NATO and EU as quickly as you possibly can.
Now it is spreading a new message there.
You know, it's not politically correct, but it's so obvious that Europe is a disaster.
There are 2 sides to this shift: security interests and economic interests. On security, the US State Department announced recently that the US-led nation-building era has passed. But what does that mean? Let's look into Bosnia and Herzegovina, or Bosnia for short, a country marked by the brutal war of the 1990s. It's home to 3 main ethnic groups: Bosniaks, Bosnian Serbs, and Bosnian Croats. To end their conflicts, a power-sharing system was created in 1995 under US leadership. It's often described as the most complicated political system in the world. Now, the US and Europe are at odds over the most powerful position in that system.
Oh my gosh.
The High Representative for Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's a unique role. It's a foreign official, usually a European, with sweeping powers to intervene in Bosnian politics. His job is to make sure the country doesn't slide back into conflict.
What the hell? Is that real? I didn't know that. So there's like some international dude who can just come in and say, no, we don't like your rules?
But he is chosen by other states and organizations, and not by the people of Bosnia. This was the last High Representative, German politician Christian Schmidt. He recently resigned and said the US pushed him to do so. The Trump administration wants to restrict the powers of the High Representative, but the EU still wants a diplomat with the final say in Bosnia.
In my view, the U.S. position is the correct one on this.
Marko Prelec is an analyst on the Balkans in the International Crisis Group, a think tank.
30 years after the cessation of hostilities, it is very difficult to explain why there ought to be an internationally appointed official with the degree of power that high representatives have wielded in Bosnia-Herzegovina.
The office has long become part of geopolitical competition in Europe. Russia was against the last High Representative, and so was their local ally, Milorad Dodik, the Bosnian Serb leader. Dodik threatened to secede from Bosnia and Herzegovina and unify the Bosnian Serb territories with neighboring Serbia.
We do not hide that we belong to one great Serbian nation. You will not destroy this nation's call to be united. This nation deserves to have a united state. We cannot be stopped on this path.
America and Europe used to pull together against these threats. Dodik was even sanctioned by the US, and Bosnian courts were after him. But he dodged arrest, stayed close to MAGA, and celebrated Trump's victory. Dodik de-escalated and stepped down from the government, but he remains the de facto leader of the Bosnian Serbs. The Trump administration took him off the sanctions list in return. The US says it wants to engage all local actors for more stability. But in the EU, there is a worry that this could embolden Dodik to try to change borders. Balkan actors could take their cue from how the war in Ukraine develops.
What I'm worried about is if there's some kind of conclusion to the war in which the Western powers recognize territorial change achieved by force in Ukraine, that there will definitely be actors in the Balkans saying, well, what about us? You know, we would also like to change our borders. Serbia would argue that with respect to Kosovo, northern Kosovo, and the Bosnian Serbs would say, well, we would like to secede.
So there is a lot at stake in terms of security. But the US says its primary focus in the region is now the economy. A lot of it has to do with this ship. It's a floating LNG terminal by a Croatian island. From here, the US wants to export gas to Western Balkan states, which have mostly been supplied by Russia until now. They have a bold pitch.
It's the Trump peace pipelines, plural. And what that means is President Trump loves energy, sort of peace through commerce.
New commercial ties are surely welcome in the Balkans, where foreign investment is badly needed. But there is a caveat.
Where it gets complicated and I think quite damaging for the region and for transatlantic relations is that the Trump administration in the second term is really sort of nakedly favoring some very dodgy firms, American firms, that have various kinds of connections to President Trump and his family. This just seems to be, a kind of corruption.
Check out this investment in Bosnia. The blue lines are existing gas pipelines, and the red line is a planned one called the Southern Interconnector. It is supposed to transport liquefied gas from that Croatian terminal through Bosnia and into Serbia. The project was blocked for years, but with new US interests, things started moving surprisingly fast. A special law was written, awarding the project with no tender to an American company with no previous experience in gas. It's headed by Trump's former lawyer and the brother of his former advisor.
We are found in an absurd reality, I have to say. The US used to be the main promoter across the region of democratic values.
Ivana Korajlić leads Transparency International's work in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
We don't see anymore any kind of even pretense of respecting
welcome in everybody
rule of law, respecting local institutions.
Welcome Hassan refugees. Welcome refugees from Hassan's stream, I'm assuming. Did Hassan end his stream?
It's particularly offensive to a European Union that builds a lot of its identity on sort of clean accounting practices, the rule of law, fair trade, equal playing field.
The EU has long worked to integrate Western Balkan countries into its own energy market, even though they are not yet members of the bloc. It has also warned Bosnia that it stands to lose support if it fails to observe common market rules. There is extra scrutiny on other US energy deals in the region too, in North Macedonia, Albania and Serbia. In Serbia, a tender for a new hydropower plant stated that only US firms need apply. So you can imagine Europe wasn't happy. Europe still dwarfs America in Western Balkans investment. Over half comes from the EU and less than 3% from the US. So what is the bloc doing to limit the influence of people in Trump's orbit?
Unfortunately, we do not see a strong enough response from the EU when it comes to this. It needs to be much quicker, the response.
The EU doesn't do big projects for whatever reason in the Western Balkans. There's not like one big thing that they could point to. When the US says that we're going to come with this $2 billion investment, that's another one big thing that everyone hears about.
The biggest carrot the EU has to influence Western Balkans is the prospect of joining the bloc in exchange for reforms. But the credibility of this promise is fading.
People in the Western Balkans have been hearing about European integration for a generation now. Nobody's been admitted in 13 years since Croatia in 2013. You've got to try to convince people again that
I think we should go quite deep on the Balkans. I think we should try and learn a little bit about the Balkans, the history, how they got to where they did, and just try and understand the Balkans a little bit more. Maybe we need to do a Balkans theme. What do you guys think? We could do a bunch of documentaries. We could do some historian lectures, whatever.
This is going to happen.
The EU could do it soon, as Montenegro is finishing accession talks and wants to join in 2028. France and Germany are now also calling for a more flexible approach to keep the countries motivated and EU influence secure. The idea is to give candidate countries early access to EU programs and markets before full membership. Proposals like this are floated every few years, but bigger crises keep taking most of the attention in Brussels. Now it's the US's growing influence that might force the EU to make a real move on the Balkans. So in a way, more interest and investment could become a good thing for the Western Balkans. But some in the region worry that a US-EU clash could fuel instability, especially if Washington stops prioritizing democracy and focuses on short-term deals.
The citizens will be those that will lose the most. Foreign governments change, they come and go, their approach differs and changes over time. But whatever the consequences of this is left for the citizens here to face and to suffer.
30 years after the wars, the split between America and Europe looks set to sow more divisions in the Western Balkans.
The Balkans are so interesting. I want to understand from the area, like what's causing it. It was a big war in the 70s, yeah, but even before then, right? Like how the Balkans sort of came out of World War II, World War I, World War II, and what their involvement was. Even before that as well, we can go back. I'm sure Ugopnik can explain. Is Ugopnik a streamer on Twitch? I've got a few friends from the Balkans, a bunch of college friends from Bulgaria. Oh, nice. I just feel, yeah, from Balkans. Oh, nice. I don't know that person, Ugopnik. Maybe we have rated Ugopnik. I don't know. Yeah, I'll prepare something for the Balkans. I'll prepare something for the Balkans for sure.
We hit an all-time.
So this is crazy. I saw this on Fox Business. And on Fox Business, blundering badly, why Trump's economic message isn't resonating. This is Fox News saying this, by the way. Why Trump's economic message isn't resonating. Fox News is having a go at Trump.
Direct support for the Noisy Crew detected. Thank you, kind viewer. Your support is appreciated.
Thank you so much, Bloodhound, for the 20 Canadian dollars. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hope your doggo recovers and is better than ever. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bloodhound. Well, he's a great streamer anyway. Nice. Yeah, I need to connect. I need to connect with Ugopnik. Maybe during this sort of, I know Balkans through Viking history. Interesting. Ugopnik is a great streamer from Serbia. Yeah, we definitely need to do more on the Balkans, eh? But this one here, let's get into this one. I'll plan something for the Balkans tonight. In tonight's stream, maybe we can spend a little bit of time on the Balkans. And that can be the start of our learning of the Balkans region. Balkans countries. Blundering badly. Why Trump's economic message isn't resonating. On Fox News, everybody. How crazy.
We hit an all-time stock market high. Yep. 401ks are the highest they've ever been by double and triple. We have more people working in the United States today than ever in history. We're doing an unbelievable job. Costs are coming way down. I inherited, they talk about costs. I inherited very, very high costs, and they're all coming down now. The food, the groceries, it's all coming down. We've done a great job.
The president gets affordability for sure. And I do think he tries to message to that point when he is, either doing an interview or in front of the crowds, Larry. But still there's this feeling of the big, beautiful bill was last year. What have you done for me lately? I want to know what's coming next. And they don't necessarily see the GOP have, anything big for them coming down the pike. And people are frustrated by that. While food costs are coming down, they're coming down slowly. And he did inherit a big, fat mess. I don't envy him for that. But still, something is missing in the messaging of how the GOP is communicating.
Bro, then why is 20 ounce of Red Bull $7? That's $14 New Zealand, man. Holy shit. You're paying $14 for your Red Bull? I'm sure Trump gets affordability. Yeah. Didn't Trump say on camera he doesn't care about affordability? He did. Yeah, big fat mess he made in his first administration. Yeah. Big fat mess, like the mess in his diapers.
Communicating with voters.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, first of all, the economy is booming. That's point number one. And it's booming across the board. And it's especially fun to watch it booming in manufacturing and construction. I know it's all about the new technologies and the power plants. And
what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean economy's booming, man? Such bullshit. It's AI, guys. It's AI. It's AI investment. That's all that's happening. AI investment is happening. Economy's not booming, buddy. American growth has slowed. What the fuck is this propaganda?
The data centers, I get that, AI. But it's also, as you said yesterday on our show, I mean, you've got industrial companies that are adapting to it. In fact, industrials themselves are doing very well, as are banks, financials. So it's across the board. Consumers are spending rapidly. You know, confidence surveys dominated by Democrats who hate Trump. So you see these terrible numbers come down. It's irrelevant. Consumers are growing at 3% a year. It's terrific stuff. Businesses, CapEx, capital goods investments, 10, 15% or more. Remarkable. Profits setting records. What did I see? Profit numbers from my pal Ed Yardeni. 30%. S&P forward earnings consensus year ahead, 30%. Now, I know it's a forecast, but still it's a very big number. And the stock market, after being flat, has come back. So President Trump is right about so much of this story. But you're right, it's not resonating. Okay?
Why?
And that's a big problem. Well, I'm not sure I know why. I think a lot of it is poor messaging. You know, he can't do it alone. And I think the Congress is very confused, blundering, really not doing their job. The Republican majorities are sort of hung up on a lot of inside baseball, and they're not getting a message out.
It's always been that way.
They are, not always, but the leadership, it's particularly in the Senate, where there's, you know, it's a circular firing squad in the Senate. It's very bizarre. And you don't have a strong leader there. So there's no messaging. And I think they're blundering. I mean, I really think they're blundering very badly. I was looking, my pal, if I can pull this out, John McLaughlin, who was a very good pollster. And the reason I like him is he polls likely voters, okay? Likely voters, not adults, which is a ridiculous thing, and not even registered voters, likely voters. And he shows that people are just not happy. Hold on, I'm going to find this. Okay. Economy worse or better? This is McLaughlin, Republican pollster. 56% worse.
Yeah.
37% better. Now, the Trump tax cuts from last year, the one big beautiful bill, which
so let me be clear. All of the tariff refunds went to corporations. Okay? So consumers paid the tariffs and the refunds went to the corporations. You paid extra for your Apple iPhones, and Apple got a $2 billion tariff refund. Do you think Apple's going to pass that on to the consumer? Fuck no. Amazon got a massive tax refund, a tariff refund too. The economy is doing well for very few people. The working class is getting hammered.
You're having a really positive effect, but nonetheless, Trump tax cuts enough to improve the economy. Only 26% say yes.
Is that because messaging's missing the mark, though? Because I keep getting confused. I want to hear your thoughts on this with affordability. Affordability is not specific. I think the message is too complicated and it needs to be reduced to paychecks. Is your paycheck getting bigger under President Trump and the Republicans? Yes. Is your paycheck going to get smaller under Democratic Socialists? Yes. Simple math, easy message. Are we just missing the mark? Because I look at Democratic Socialists, they have these radical ideas, and they have style, but they have style and social media. Is that enough to convince smart voters?
That is the difference, because you look at somebody like a Mamdani or an AOC or even a Bernie Sanders, and even when they are lying to you straight in the face, they will look you in the eye, and they've got this smile and this way of doing it and seizing onto the affordability, and life's not fair.
Yeah, with their hand on your wallet at the same time.
They're getting through.
It's more than style, though. We pay more in taxes. This is out today. Very important. We pay more in taxes than we do for food, clothing, and shelter. By an old Reagan friend of mine, Bruce Thompson, who was in the Treasury Department in the White House, was picked up by the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. And the numbers, I don't know if I have the numbers, but it's roughly $8,500 versus $7,500. We pay more in taxes. People want to see more take-home pay. Now, your point is a very good point. The wage numbers are improving, but it's not the easiest sell. It's fairly recent, but I agree. That's part of the messaging problem. Look, they're bungling the whole budget stuff here. Look, you know, we're supposed to be draining the swamp and giving more people, allowing more people to keep more of what they earn, okay? So on the one hand, we should be using all the waste fraud.
Notice they're not talking about any specifics. That's the point. It's just, look at the Dow, everybody. The line's going up. I call her a cricket because woman looks like she hasn't eaten in days. What? Yeah, line goes up, right? Dow Jones, great. But what does that mean for common people, bro? Like, this guy doesn't talk about any numbers. He doesn't talk about what the outcomes have been. When he talks about paychecks have increased, by how much? What is that when you index that against how much inflation has gone up by? How does that compare? Are people really keeping more than they used to? They have no numbers. They just say stuff.
Fraud, abuse, and corruption, and institutionalize it and get it in a reconciliation bill so you can cut $700 billion over the next 10 years. And at the same time, it should be accompanied by additional tax reform, not least of which would be indexing capital gains and increasing the.
So Mamdani is taxing the shit he's increased taxes a little bit on rich people, and the Dow is still going up. The Dow is still going up when Mamdani increases taxes in the holy grail of capitalism, or the mecca of capitalism, and the Dow is still going up. Why not bring up that narrative? Tax the rich.
The allowance, the exemption for cap gains on the sale of a home. But in general, you could do more. You probably could do more. Lower the tax rate for middle-income people. Maybe you have to go back to tips and overtime and do more. Seniors. It's just, you know, it's like we said yesterday. Ordinary people don't sit around looking at the durable goods backlogs.
They don't.
Or your retail sales.
It happens to be fabulous, but I don't think it really registers. And I'm not sure they look at forward earnings either, although I think the stock market is ultimately a very big plus for Mr. Trump. But it is a combination of messaging. The legislation is lousy. They're bungling what they shouldn't bungle. They should be much bolder.
So I have another question for you. Pardon me for following up here, but we talk about this idea of then why aren't the Republicans doing more, putting more in these bills, trying to push harder, sticking together while they have the majority to get things done, and somehow they're not able to do it. And also this idea that Republicans they're not innocent in this because, to a certain degree, they realize affordability is the issue. They realize the platforms that these DS8 candidates are running on, and they say things. For example, the president saying the other day, it's not right that the oil companies are making so much money and they should give some money back to the people. You can't say that.
Well, you can't.
Why? What's wrong with saying that?
You can, but
I've seen this movie before many times. Of course, there's what Mike Summers said last night from the Petroleum Institute. If you went back in COVID, prices were so low you couldn't. People didn't even want to store the stuff because it was so cheap. No, he says that. Like you, I wish he wouldn't say that. He sounds like Elizabeth Warren, but he doesn't really mean it.
Right.
He doesn't,
I
he
know,
just kinda says
but we're
it.
talking about messaging.
And they're going to reinvest in drilling and production and pipelining and refining. I mean, I'm not worried about that.
Well,
but let me come back to this. Taxes, look.
This is what I mean. Like when he says the economy is booming, it's booming for a few people. It's not booming for the working class. It just isn't. This guy is talking about a very few people making a shitload of money and the rest of the working class just suffering and being exploited. Man, this is so stupid.
This is affordability. Taxes are a lot about how much money do you keep of what you earn, okay? And this is from this study. $8,192 billion in taxes, $7,388 billion and food, clothing, and housing. I mean, really.
And that's a crazy statistic
taxes,
right there.
I mean, it's a very clever way to look at the thing. But it goes to, and people want more. They want to keep more of what they earn. That is a classic Ronald Reagan Republican and Donald Trump Republican issue. I've been saying it for about 5 decades now, okay? And we've done it. Now, you did a lot of it in the 2017 bill. You did a lot of it in last year's One Big Beautiful Bill. But you got to do more. And you got to keep pounding the message. You got to do more.
Yeah.
I know they're fighting a war. It takes up time. It takes up resources. He needs more help. Really, I don't forget who said this, which pundit said this, but Karl Rove, how's that? Karl Rove said this on our show this past week or something. Anyway, the individuals running the Senate races they have to improve their messaging.
Yeah,
they have to.
I hear
do
you.
it.
He can't. Trump can't be the only one.
Right, that's the point.
Taylor, I want to bring you in on the markets because the markets are ripping, but we often say, even though more people are invested in the market than ever, that the markets are not the economy. Even though the economy's strong, that doesn't, devalue the way people feel.
Yes, except that maybe because Larry Kudlow's sitting here, the market is not the economy. The market is not the economy that if the market's at record high and I don't have a job, I still feel like crap. Except that, to Larry's always good point, when companies make money, profit, which is what drives the market higher, they get to decide, how do I want to spend that money? Sure, I could give you a dividend or buy back some stock, but I could also reinvest in my business or give you a promotion or give you a raise or hire more people. So the market is not the economy, except that higher profits and higher markets do impact the economy.
I can hire more people. As they're building out AI data centers to replace people. What kind of bullshit is this? Do you think the corporations are investing in workers? Come on, folks. How stupid do they think we are? Also, they're literally telling everybody, corporations everywhere, that they are actively working on AI integration into their workflows to replace workers. What is this?
Because then those companies feel comfortable hiring and spending and investing, and that drives the economy.
But the criticism...
The biggest winners are wage earners. The biggest winners are wage earners. And that's another point. I think Lou said it.
What?
They should emphasize that. I mean, now I heard Trump last night on the interview, and he said that stuff. I mean, I thought he did very well. It's just that there's not enough, repetition. Politics is like religion. You need repetition, and then you'll come to believe it, and you'll have faith.
Jackie, do you want me to give you a good statistic on that for repetition? Sure. Bank of America tracks customer deposits. Customer deposit account data suggests labor momentum strengthened further in July. Payroll growth accelerated 2% year over year, up from 1.7% in June. Lower income households saw after-tax wage growth accelerate 5.2% in July, surpassing all other higher income households. So it's there. The data is there.
But we're back to a messaging problem because
but they could make the case.
The big corporations, also people demonize them and say, well, they're sitting on their cash. They're not reinvesting it. They're not hiring. It's not filtering through to the bottom line.
We're going to talk about this Marxism stuff in a moment.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to save it for that.
We're going to talk about this Marxism stuff? Oh, my gosh, dude. These people are so fucked.
But I'm just saying, this is winnable. Don't get me. I don't want to come out as a pessimist. I'm critiquing it. And, the polls are the polls. You asked about it. And McLaughlin's likely voters are very important. Fabrizio uses likely voters. I think Mark Penn often uses likely voters, and they're the best pollsters in the country. All these other polls are nonsense. But this is, all right, we're in early August and so forth. They have a midterm convention in early September in Dallas, a couple days. They have time to make the case. And the Democrats, I think, are giving them gifts.
This guy's, I have to say, out of everything this guy said, all the weak shit, all the dumb shit, this guy's Nussi game is very strong.
This whole Marxist Islamist nexus that's developing in the Democratic Party is not going to sell well in this country. So there's that. And so I'm still an optimist.
That is a lot, I would say.
But to your point, I mean, it isn't fabulous. Yeah. I acknowledge that.
Okay, Lydia, final thoughts?
I see so much of what we're talking about in the message that needs to be communicated. And I'm just thinking about the recent trip that I took down to South Carolina to cover the expansion of aluminum smelting. And it's a big product of President Trump's agenda that they're able to expand and invest. Talk about bringing back jobs in manufacturing. Those are some really good paying jobs. And you should have seen the local community celebrating what it means for them. Those are workers that are going to feel the benefits. I mean, these are six-figure jobs.
Sorry. No, please. I didn't mean... shut up, Larry.
No. We want to hear from you.
I was only going to say, to your point, which is a terrific point, which Trump was making last night, these are trades jobs.
Right.
These are not PhDs in sociology or, heaven forbid, economics. These are welders and electricians. And
I'm literally watching Bloomberg, and Bloomberg's like, what the fuck is going on? Bloomberg is constantly just like waiting for something to absolutely explode. And then these guys are like, look at the Dow. Look at the Dow, everybody. And Bloomberg's like so skeptical about everything, man, at the moment. Oh, dude, it couldn't be more opinions couldn't be more far apart right now. It's just it's so they're all lying. And Bloomberg is terrified.
Carpenters and so forth who work their tails off. These are people that put pipes together and make the water cycle run. And the net effect is the communities see a tremendous economic improvement, which filters right through jobs and wages and families and the whole 9 yards. And ultimately, in many of these states, they're using the extra revenues to cut local property taxes and things like that. Ms. Trump made that point last night. It's a terrific point, okay? You just have to keep doing it. My point is it's there for the GOP. Look,
right, beat the drum.
This guy looks like Mitch McConnell with a haircut.
I'd rather run in any election with record stock markets, with record jobs, with more people working, with virtually no employment except frictional employment, okay? And I'd rather run when I had a lot to say about cutting back democratic big government socialism, fraud, and corruption. I'd rather run on all that. They just got to run on it.
Okay, we've got to run.
It just looks like he was in pain while he was laughing. Why? Oh, my gosh. Fox Business market expert eyes the biggest risk lurking out there. Oh, dude. That was 5 hours ago, and this was 6 hours ago.
We hit an all-time stock market high. Yep. 401ks are the highest they've ever been by double and triple. Yep. And then I read where we're doing badly on the economy. We're doing an unbelievable job. Costs are coming way down. I inherited, they talk about costs. I inherited very, very high costs, and they're all coming down now. The food, the groceries, it's all coming down. We've done a great job. I think we should be given an A+ on the economy.
That is President Trump taking a victory lap as Wall Street bets the worst is over. The Dow on track for back-to-back records. The S&P now just sliding lower, but still close to record highs. Basically, an earnings boom and optimism that the Strait of Hormuz deal, it could be imminent.
Okay, I'm not going to listen to this shit again. I'm sorry, guys, but I thought it was a different group of people. If it's that decrepit fucking Mitch McConnell-looking asshole, I don't want to watch it again. All right. This is military families outraged by conditions on USS Lincoln. It's still Biden's fault. Yeah. Sorry, did he say fictional unemployment? Yeah. Fictional unemployment, everybody. Oh, dear. Moldy showers and no soap, everybody. Moldy showers and no soap.
Welcome back. Just about the bottom of the hour. So we've got some new reporting first here on MS Now about the brutally demanding conditions.
Hey, so here's what I'm going to do, okay? So for this evening, we're going to do a Balkans history, learn and blah. If there's some breaking news, we'll obviously cover it. So Balkans tonight. Oh, all good, Lava. Welcome. We'll do Balkans tonight. I can't stream the Balkans one on YouTube, so I'll stay off YouTube because I'll get copyright and shit. And we can watch whatever we want. We'll do a full Balkans history / politics tour. It's going to be so good.
Conditions that service members are facing overseas as we wait for some resolution to the war with Iran. MS Now spoke with a dozen family members and sailors and Marines aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, who say they're extremely concerned about the morale, safety, and conditions on that ship. The 5,000-person crew has been at sea for 9 straight months and engaged in combat operations since the beginning of the war against Iran all the way back in February. Many family members describe their kids or spouses telling them about non-operational toilets, moldy showers, laundry facilities that were broken for weeks, and extended periods with no hot water for showering. The family.
Please do it with Hugo. He is the best. I'll get in touch. If you guys could intro me to him or something, it would be good. Tonight we'll do it without Hugo. I'll find some content, but keen to collab. Obviously, it'll be cool.
Say their loved ones have described food shortages and standing in line at the ship's store for an hour or more, even while it often lacks basic supplies like toothpaste, soap, and deodorant. Let's bring in MS Now Pentagon reporter Priya Sridhar, who broke that story. Former Acting Army Secretary Patrick Murphy also back with us. Priya, it's a great story. People think about service members, in this case sailors, in a combat zone. They, of course, think about the dangers the enemy may pose. They perhaps think less about just the conditions they have to live with each and every day, sounding, from your reporting, downright miserable, and at times.
So miserable, They've got to bomb those children, and then they've got to, shoot all of those Arabs. God dang! I took a shit this morning. I ain't got no toilet paper, folks. The fuck am I supposed to do? I smell like shit. You expect me to bomb all of those children and not have a shower or wipe my ass after taking a shit? God damn it. I need my infrastructure. Why the hell do I pay my taxes, god dang? I can't take a shit. I can't take a shower. I'm about to shit outside my window straight into the ocean, god damn it. We supposed to be America. If I'm about to bomb some Iraqistanis, I want to know I'm coming home to have a comfortable shit. Better believe. God dang.
Maybe even dangerous.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And, you know, the Lincoln just set a record in the Navy for having the most continuous days at sea, with more than 200 days underway. They left San Diego in November. They had a brief stop in Guam in December, and then they didn't stop for a port call again until early July, just briefly in Oman, where most of the sailors were able to get off the ship, but they had to stay in port. And really what the families were telling me is they're very worried about exhaustion here. Most of their family members are working 12 to 14-hour shifts. They're depending on their job. They're not getting any days off. And when you talk about a flight deck on an aircraft carrier, this is one of the most dangerous places in the military. You're having high-speed aircraft taking off and landing. You have munitions, weapons, and bombs being moved around at a very...
Hey, Priya. Hey, lady. How about America just stops bombing other countries? How about you just stop doing evil, violent shit? How about that? I have zero empathy. I feel zero empathy for your soldiers who have to dodge aircrafts that are bombing school children and babies in the Middle East. I don't give a fuck how tired they are. I don't give a fuck if they can't wipe their ass.
Fast pace, and the service members are also being exposed to, you know, really loud noises for a sustained period of time.
Oh, loud noises! Holy shit! You should talk to the people in Gaza who have, you know, drones flying over their heads 24/7.
And which can really lead to long-term injuries like hearing loss. So when you're talking about exhaustion, when you're talking about low morale, because now this deployment has been extended for a second time and there's no end in sight, they're worried that those things could lead to accidents that could potentially even be deadly. I want you to take a listen to what some of them told me.
This is where, like, I should cut myself in. I want you to listen to what some of them told me, and I should just cut myself in with, like, with the accent. Have you heard the drone song? No, I haven't. Oh,
yes, I have.
Didn't
choose to be there.
I have.
They volunteered to be there. They're willing to be there, and they're doing their best. So they want our support. And part of that support means we have to have the tools to do our job. That means the fuel. That means the food, right? That means the food. That means the toothpaste and the deodorant. That means all of it, right? Now,
I don't think it's the ship is the issue. I think it's our president, it's our government that's not helping the morale. I think the ship is doing what they can do with what they're given. But I think our government needs to be doing more for our military that's sitting over there.
Crazy. Like, has got, like, I'm guessing, like, Ohana, this is Hawaii based, like, designs on the wall and shit, and sending her son to fight in a colonial imperialist military is crazy. How can you identify with all of these things at the same time? I don't understand. Our government needs to cheer on bombing children more so the military output is way better. Yeah. It's about morale, the mental gymnastic to avoid actually confronting reality. Yeah.
And so, you're hearing from them about exhaustion, but they're saying that, even at the end of their shifts, the fact that these sailors and Marines can't take showers, they can't wash their uniforms. I had some family members tell me that they believe that prisoners and inmates in jail are treated with more dignity and respect than our service members.
So, Priya, you know what prisoners in jail don't have? A military arsenal, Priya. Military arsenal. They don't have that, Priya, and they get paid fuck all. They're basically slaves in prison, Priya.
Patrick, let's get your take on this. What does this tell you about Pete Hegseth's military?
Listen, we're stretched pretty thin, and it's not just. I mean, Priya did a great job in his reporting. Jonathan, the one point she made in her article, which I like to highlight, there's over 10,000 shorties off the USS Lincoln. I mean, in the Pentagon, we used to say, amateurs talk strategy, experts talk logistics. The USS Lincoln is the logistics machine there in the Middle East, pushing out these sorties every day. And it is a very dangerous, job. And these are the ultimate warriors, whether you're a sailor or a soldier. The fact is that you are doing really tough jobs. And so my heart and thoughts and prayers are going out to these sailors and their families.
Thoughts and prayers, everybody.
They're stretched pretty thin right now.
And this is not a new boat. The ship launched in the 80s.
Thoughts and prayers.
Priya, talk to us. It was also a conflict with no real end in sight. Like there's, negotiations off and on. Every so often the president, authorizes some sort of strike. They could be there for a long time to come.
Yeah, and that's something I heard repeatedly from the families as well, is that, they understand that their loved ones volunteered to be in the military, right? They're not expecting to be on a Carnival cruise here. They don't expect buffets. They don't expect, a hot tub. They understand that the conditions are going to be rough. They signed up to go to war. But I think what's lacking here is any clear strategy. And they said, we're ready to do a mission and complete a mission. But what we're failing to understand is what this mission actually is and when is it going to end. So I think really what they're looking for is some goalpost that, they can keep an eye on and some relief at the end of all of this. We had 3 aircraft carriers simultaneously in the Middle East, which hasn't, you haven't seen a military buildup like that since 2000.
Priya next year writing an article about the same thing. They can't even tan their balls anymore. These tanning machines aren't being maintained. What are we gonna do? I mean, they were promised that they could tan their balls. The testosterone levels are all the way down in the military. We need these ball tanning machines online. The president promised us, but where is his promises? Where are his promises? Why isn't he keeping them? $1 trillion on ball tanning machines, and look where we are. Now we got sailors sharing tanning machines. They're having to use the same ball tanning machine together at the same time. We're America. This shouldn't be happening. Double dipping on one single ball tanning session is crazy. We should be offering our soldiers individual ball tanning machines. They all deserve testosterone.
And this has been a war that has largely been fought by the Navy. When you think about who's been imposing the naval blockade. And
by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about with ball tanning, this is what I'm talking about. This was like the Tucker Carlson ball tanning shit. Testicular tanning. This is what the right wingers were using for raising their testosterone. There's a great image of it. Hold on. Maybe I shouldn't open this, like, ball tanning, Guardian. Yeah, this is it right here. Yeah, have you not seen the ball tanning, folks? Ball tanning. It's real. So Tucker Carlson's answer to masculinity's supposed crisis: testicle tanning. He calls it testicle tanning. I call it ball tanning. Pete Hegseth is looking at increasing. Oh, what do we have here?
I welcome this opportunity to speak to the people of America about a subject which I believe to be most important, and that is the subject of physical fitness. A country is as strong, really, as its citizens, and I think that mental and physical health go hand in hand. There is nothing, I think, more unfortunate than to have soft, chubby, fat-looking children. I hope that all of you will join, and everybody in the United States, to make sure that our children participate fully in a vigorous and adventurous life which is possible for them in this very rich country of ours.
There's been a 50% decline in sperm counts in the last 40 years, along with a precipitous decline in testosterone production. We're headed for a calamity, and that's not hyperbole, it's not exaggeration, it's just a mathematical fact.
Would you recommend young men to tan their balls?
To what?
No, this is not an SNL skit. This is real.
Once a society collapses, then you're in hard times. Well, hard iron sharpens iron, as they say, and those hard times inevitably produce men who are tough, men who are resourceful, men who are strong enough to survive. And then they go on to re-establish order. And so the cycle begins again.
You saw in the clip there, if you want to optimize and take it to another level, expose yourself to red light therapy.
Yes.
And the Juve that we were using in the documentary, there's a massive amount
Which
of
is testicle tanning.
It's testicle tanning, but it's also full body red light therapy, which has massive amount of benefits. And there's so much data out there that isn't being picked up on or covered.
So obviously half the viewers right now are like, what? That's testicle tanning? That's crazy. But my view is, okay, testosterone levels crash and nobody says anything about it. That's crazy. So why is it crazy to seek solutions?
It's not crazy to seek solutions, and I think I was recently exposed to a term called bromeopathy, and I think there's a lot of people out there right now that don't trust the mainstream information, and they're taking.
Now to the first part of a series you'll see here every Wednesday in the month of March, focusing on men in America. The signs are everywhere. If you're a middle-aged man, you probably know a peer who has killed himself in recent years, at least one. If you're a parent, you may have noticed that your daughter's friends seem a little more on the ball than your son's. They get better grades, they
on the ball. Was that a pun?
Smoke much less marijuana. They spend less time playing video games. They go to more prestigious colleges. If you're an employer, you may have noticed that your female employees show up on time. The young men often don't. And of course, if you live in this country, you've just seen a horrifying series of mass shootings, far more than we've ever had. Women didn't do that. In every case, the shooter was a man. Something ominous is happening to men in America. Everyone who pays attention knows that. What's odd is how rarely you hear it publicly acknowledged. Our leaders pledged to create more opportunities for women and...
Do you guys remember these propaganda sessions with fucking Tucker Carlson and how nuts like Reddit used to go with the clips of this guy? Every time this guy's show came out, bro, he would say something outrageous.
Girls whom they imply are failing. Men don't need help. They're the patriarchy. They're fine, more than fine. But are they fine? Here are the numbers. Start with the most basic, life and death. The average American man will die 5 years before the average American woman. One of the reasons for this is addiction. Men are more than twice as likely as women to become alcoholics. They're also twice as likely to die of a drug OD. In New Hampshire, one of the states hardest hit by the opioid crisis, 73% of overdose deaths were men. But the saddest reason for shortened lifespans is suicide. 77% of all suicides in America are committed by men. The overall rate is increasing at a dramatic pace. Between 1997 and 2014, there was a 43% rise in suicide deaths among middle-aged American men. The rates are highest among American Indian and white men who kill themselves at about 10 times the rate of Hispanic and black women. You often hear America's incarceration crisis. Well, that's almost exclusively a male problem, too. Over 90%.
Oh, he's probably not going to do race demographics on this one, is he? They can't handle it when the people they were taught they had dominion over start talking back. Yeah.
Of inmates are men. Now, these problems are complex, but we know that they start young. And relative to girls, boys are failing in school. More girls than boys graduate high school. Considerably more go to and graduate from college. In schools at every level, boys account for the overwhelming majority of discipline cases. One study found that fully 1 in 5 high school boys had been diagnosed with some form of hyperactivity disorder. That's compared with just 1 in 11 girls. Many of them were medicated for it. The long-term health effects of those medications, not fully understood, but they do appear to include depression in later life.
Tucker Carlson's so full of shit. It's like, how the fuck did people watch this and go, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds legit?
Women now decisively outnumber men in graduate school. They earn the majority of doctoral degrees. They're now the majority of new enrollees in both law and medical schools. For men, the consequences of failing in school are long-term and profound. Between 1979 and 2010, working-age men with only high school degrees saw their real hourly wages drop about 20%. Over the same period, high school-educated women saw their wages rise. The decline of the...
Oh my gosh, is he doing man versus woman? Oh, the right... Okay, so what's the solution to this, everybody? Tan your balls. What's the solution? I can't listen to this fuckwit anymore.
In the Strait of Hormuz and who's been launching those airstrikes on Iran. And so, you know, they say enough
until they're raisins. Yeah.
talk about the stockpiles and the depletion of weapons and the $67 billion that Secretary Hegseth has gone to the Hill to ask for. Let's talk about our service members.
Priya Sridhar, thank you so much for bringing this reporting to us. Great work. Patrick Murphy, thank you as well. We appreciate you both.
That's who Tucker Carlson really is. Okay? His white replacement, like fear of white replacement, that's what drives this guy. Be very careful with people like Tucker Carlson. Their empathy for Palestinian people isn't you know what you think it is. Just be really careful with people like that.
Well, the upper section of a...
Oh shit! Elon Musk bombed the moon?
space rocket traveling at over 8,000 kilometers per hour has crashed into the moon. While it wasn't intentional, scientists are still using it as an opportunity to study the impact of the collision on the lunar surface. For more on this, I'm joined in the studio by astrophysicist Dr. Sarah Webb. Good to have you here in the flesh. So we know that it's been a few hours since part of that SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket crashed onto the moon. What do we know has happened so far?
So far we're assuming that it has crashed onto the moon. All of our orbital determinations have said that it should have crashed around 4:30 p.m. our time here in Australia on the eastern coast. However, there was a lot of eagle-eyed viewers with telescopes that were trying to capture this moment on camera because we expected there would be a plume.
So by the way, do you guys know why people now are so interested in the moon? We've done a few shows around this. But the reason why the moon has come into so much focus isn't because it's got unlimited water or whatever the fuck. It's because of a chemical called tritium. And the moon has tritium in abundance. The Earth does not. And it's very hard to make tritium. And tritium is used for fusion. And now China, the West, all the space companies are trying to launch tritium collectors. Tritium, I have shitloads of that in No Man's Sky. Yeah, so they're devising new ways to go and farm tritium and bring it back to Earth. Oh, that's why China is headed there. Yeah, that's why the West is also looking at the moon as well, because there's a lot of tritium, like almost unlimited tritium on the moon. Very, very energy. Oh my gosh. A lot of energy needs to be invested to create it here on Earth, whereas on the moon, it's just available. Very dense. No, thank you for trying to finish my sentence. Energy intensive is what I was trying to say. Very, very energy intensive. And Elon is going to develop missiles to target. Oh no, that's okay, ATR. Don't say sorry. It was funny. It was nice. It was a nice gesture. Thank you. And Elon is going to develop missiles to target practice other countries.
Incoming raid detected. Thank you, Raiders. Welcome. Hope you stick around and hit that follow button.
Yo! Little Dragon Lee, welcome! Lil Dragon Lee, hello! How are we? Vitingale! Oh my goodness! Hey Beth, I'm good, thank you. Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in. We're watching a little news snippet about Elon crashing a rocket into the moon. Excellent. Elon isn't just fucking up Earth, he's now fucking up the moon.
Cloud, one that could possibly reach heights of about 10 kilometers, but to date so far, we haven't actually seen evidence that it has crashed. So right now we're in this limbo moment waiting for one of our reconnaissance orbiters to fly over and image if there was an impact crater or not.
So if there is an impact in that scenario, what would...
Detected. Sharing is caring. You shared. You cared.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. Oh, Vitingale. Raid hype, sub hype. Nice. Matt, thank you for the gift sub. Vitingale, yay. You're a sub again. Hello, Vitingale. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? Ilya Shaitan. Hi. Noisy Immigrant. Elon just wants to become famous for changing the face of the moon.
Would it present to researchers like yourself? What can we learn? What could you learn from an event like this?
Yeah, so even though it's an
How's it
incredibly
going,
unfortunate
Dragon
event, we
Lee?
don't want to crash things onto our moon. But it is an opportunity for us to study what is beneath the surface. So impact craters are obviously, they're not rare on the moon, they happen all the time, but man-made impact craters are quite rare. And this one is going to be a doozy. It's going to be about 20 metres in diameter, up to 5 metres deep, meaning that if it has created that crater, we can study what is under there. We can look at what are the minerals and potentially what resources are on that position in the moon.
Yes, it's almost like drilling without having to drill into the surface.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. And any information we can glean, even if these are accidental.
He's so desperate for something to distract from him mass murdering with USAID cuts. Yeah, that's coming back to him. That's coming back to him. So prospecting, yeah. So on the moon, there's one particular mineral that, one particular chemical that we need, one particular molecule, I guess. Tritium is very abundant on the moon, and with tritium being one of the core ingredients for fusion energy, China and the US are looking to land tritium harvesters on the moon, and this is not a new development. It's newish, but fusion energy, lots more investment. Tritium, I used to work with that. Wow, incredible! Like there's two things fusion reactors need. They need deuterium, which is very easy to get from seawater. Tritium, however, requires a lot of energy to create. So test for it. Nice. It's not good that there's a lot of tritium there. They're going to strip mine it until it's a husk, a quarter of the original weight. They're going to find more ways to screw over the Earth, 100%. Noisy Minger, I'm pretty sure it's actually helium-3, which is seen as the holy grail of fusion. Tritium is the source we use now, but H3 is the stuff that is better for us to use. Oh, really? Nice. Thanks for that, Nathaniel. Yeah, tritium is H3, yeah. Well, not H3, but I mean, it's got oxygen as well. It's, sorry, no, tritium. H3 is helium-3, yeah. Deuterium, heavy. And tritium. The hydrogen, variations of different amounts of hydrogen. He3, yeah. He3, yes. Helium is He, correct.
Accidental circumstances is always important to the scientific community.
Yes. Now, this was, as you mentioned, unintentional, but, prefer that it didn't happen.
That's right.
But are there concerns that such collisions could have ramifications, for unwanted ramifications for the surface, including perhaps the preservation of sites like, those of the Apollo missions?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a topic that we discuss quite openly in the space community. We have a heritage on the moon that we need to protect. It's nobody's moon to litter and to pollute. And we know that all too well here in Australia. And of course, with our First Nations people, this is part of Sky Country as well. So it's got many deep connections across the globe. But certainly when we're thinking about having our Apollo sites protected, they are...
Didn't the Minions try to steal the moon? Elon's been watching animations again. The thing, guys, is... China is investing a lot in fusion energy. China is investing a hell of a lot in nuclear energy in general, fission and fusion. Fission is obviously more actionable at the moment, and they can get fission reactors working. But fusion reactors are, the holy grail, I guess. And China is putting a lot of effort. China's putting a lot of effort into it. So their tritium mining effort should not be underestimated. I think they are definitely going after it pretty aggressively. So we'll see. They've got plans to do a few launches over the next few years. So, like, if they can secure tritium as a source from the moon, it's incredible stuff. Fusion energy is I would have hoped that the world would have focused a lot more of its resources on finding ways to get fusion up and running. Only over the last decade has investment gone up significantly, and research has the R&D side of it has gained so much investment. But I think it's I know there's a lot of jokes that fusion energy is 20 years away, was 20 years away 50 years ago. But think about this, like, it is clean energy, and it is, if harnessed, its energy, it's basically unlimited, because the resources are accessible. Like, the human race should be so focused on it, but we're so drunk on oil, we're so addicted to oil, that the focus on renewables and the focus on things like fusion just hasn't been there. Another example of capitalism fucking things up. The short-term worldview of capitalism has fucked over our world in so many ways. The short-term profit focus has destroyed progress, but it's happening. The progress is going to happen, but we have to look past the detractors, because often in the West, the people who are detractors of things like fusion, who make light of technology like fusion or solar power, etc., there are oil lobbies spending shitloads of money trying to make people believe that these energy sources aren't viable. Okay, just earlier this year, after Iran grabbed America by the Hormuz Sea, just after that, a month after, Bloomberg reported that solar energy is cheaper to produce in China than using coal. Right? We're starting to hit those performance numbers for renewable energy, and fusion. You know, it's been downplayed, and then cold fusion came in, which was stupid. But it's been downplayed, decade after decade. Investment has been completely stopped. But now with China having autonomy and growing so quickly, nothing is stopping it anymore. So don't sleep on fusion. I think it is, obviously, we are still a fair bit of time away. But this is the future of the human race. And we should not play down the potential of fusion energy ever. And I just feel the West has put so much money into disinformation on things like renewables, climate change, just to keep the world addicted to oil. And now China is really making a massive impact. So, look, I'm not glazing the Chinese government or anything here. I'm just saying that it's nice to have some competition. Capitalism has been a very sort of Western white supremacist institution. Now there's more competition coming into play. Scientists at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN, Switzerland, are attempting to create new particles by smashing together protons and heavy ions. Yeah. Yes.
Heritage listed now. There's instruments and scientific data there that we might want to collect one day. We don't want that contaminated. And then thinking into the 2030s, when we're going to have humans living on the south pole of the moon, which to us right now in the studio is actually the north position, we don't want humans impacted by by events like this either.
Are there ways, for space to prevent space junk from hitting the moon unintentionally or not? And do companies like NASA, SpaceX, but also even the Chinese Space Agency, do they?
I really hope I live to 100 years old to see these developments, and I truly hope in my lifetime fusion energy can start to become viable. Honestly, I really hope, because I think it's such a need for the world to just heal again. We need a future energy source that isn't just going to take from the earth. We need something far more sustainable, and I hope I see it in my lifetime, man. I really do.
They have a responsibility to do so.
They do have a responsibility to do so. So every nation who launches, and now this is a private company but launched under the United States. The United States is part of multiple space treaties, and through them we have a responsibility to act peacefully and considerably in space. And so where possible, trying to avoid events like this is crucial, but in this case there's physically nothing we could have done. There was no fuel for it to be moved away. And so this is a case of events like this will happen, and they're going to get more increasingly complex and likely happen more frequently. As
the only way space doesn't become a completely private enterprise is if there is competition to Western capitalism. That's the only way. There needs to be competition across the board, and so China plays that role in global politics, and that's where we're at. We are at this key juncture in the world where the West is now understanding that its power is slowly being eroded because the world is becoming more equitable for all, with the likes of China rising, with the likes of India coming to the fore, Asia rising. The global South is starting to rise as a whole, Africa, Latin America. And this is the moment the West has chosen to tighten its grip around the world. But it's failing. That's what the Strait of Hormuz was about, right? It was to put more pressure on China, have more leverage on China as China starts to diversify energy industries that the West doesn't want to see. And yeah, that's true. I'm glad that Finland has Onkalo investments for nuclear waste management. Nice. And if we are to discover what is beyond the distance of the quark, we need a collider the size of our solar system. Yeah. Exactly. Accessible information compared with 20 to 50 years ago. It's extinction burst for white supremacist capitalism. Yeah. It's not extinction. It's just competition. There's no domination anymore from one side, which is how the world should be. It should be a multipolar world. And a step towards that is a step towards a more equitable world for all. But I'm telling you, how we generate and use energy is such an important aspect of all of that. So I'm rooting for fusion, man. Like, I hope China nails it. I know Europe is going to fuck it up with that project. I think China is really the only country that is focused enough to make real progress. America's fucking around with oil still.
We explore more.
Yes, and of course there is a bit of a race to the moon at the moment, isn't it? I mean, you got the Artemis 4, I think, that would be it. But then, there are ambitions from the Chinese Space Agency as well, quite ambitious missions that they have. Can there be too much space junk? And if that is the case, does that form a greater risk of more debris falling to Earth? Because we have seen incidents in the last couple of years. Yes.
Yeah, we absolutely have. I believe I actually spoke to you about one not too long ago. It's certainly a problem. So just above the Earth right now.
Yeah, it's so funny when the global South starts launching rockets into space, space junk becomes like a big deal. Come on, bro. Fuck. Just because the West fucked up space doesn't mean other people can't do their. Elon car going to crash soon? What? Oh, the car he launched into space.
There's over 130 million pieces of space debris. Only 35,000 of them are tracked actively by us, just because we can't track it all. It's physically impossible with our technological constraints. And so even that number is astounding. And we're reaching a teeter point where it's going to become an increasing problem where if you have too much space debris, it's too risky to send things up into orbit.
Was watching reactions for Abdul, including Fetterman. I fucking hate Fetterman. Fetterman is the worst kind of Democrat. I lean left. I side often with Democrats, but Fetterman is a poor excuse of a Democrat. But I think Fetterman is the loud version of liberals. I think Fetterman's views are more common in the Democratic Party than you think. Like, he just says it because he's a dumbass. But I think his views are very much aligned with the core of the Democratic Party, like Kamala Harris or whoever else. I mean, his views on Israel are, I think, very aligned with people like Kamala and others. I think Kamala Harris and liberals in the Democratic Party are Israel focused.
But now we're not at that point yet, and we certainly won't be at that point anytime soon, but it's something we need to consider for the next decades of exploration.
So are the major space agencies putting this anywhere in their list of priorities?
Yeah, absolutely. So almost every spacefaring nation has some mitigation, debris mitigation policies in place, and it's certainly something that they consider really deeply.
Yeah, I don't understand why you think Democrats are left. Like, liberals aren't left at all. Like, the DSA is proving it. The DSA, I would say, aren't as left as you can go either. You know, there's far more left to the left of the DSA. It's just that liberals have LARPed as leftists for so long, but they'll abandon the left the moment capital is threatened. They're not leftists, man. He literally chased a man while wielding a weapon while he was mayor. Why do we elect people like this? The whole thing with leaving the party and deciding whether to leave rubbed me the wrong way too. I said just leave them. It's too far right on the spectrum of liberalism, in my opinion, and for my taste. Oh yeah, Fetterman's shit.
Because it hinders everything. When you end up having an asset that doesn't quite go how you expect it to, there's a lot of ramifications down the line.
Is there any, and I'm just kind of thinking as a person that doesn't know much about space, but is there any way that the debris that is out there, some orbiting Earth, for instance, is there any way to capture that?
It's a fundamental question. You're asking the big questions. So there's many companies who are exploring this and really exciting possibilities. So some companies are investigating the idea of grappling big pieces of debris, so almost sending like a claw up there to grab a piece of debris and then help it burn up in our atmosphere. There's other elements as well for some of the tinier pieces of the debris, so trying to use lasers to slow it down to get it to burn up. So there's certainly massive amounts of opportunity in that space, and many people are investigating it.
Yeah, and then fascinating ways to research how this can be used, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, part of us being a spacefaring civilization is how do we do so in a responsible way, and how do
Would I put Fetterman in the same category such as Schumer, Booker, or Jeffries? Yes. 2,000%. Absolutely. Fetterman is a loudmouth, but his policies, his way of thinking is no different to those guys. Cletus should send a big magnet up there.
How do we do so in a way that we can continue to explore the moon, possibly explore Mars and beyond? Who knows in the future?
Yeah, Sarah, I always appreciate your insights and expertise. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, man. Elon Musk is... I don't like the guy. Do you guys like the guy? I don't like him. He's a Nazi. Anyway, Volcano. We'll finish with this. I wanted to leave you today with a feeling of dread, with a feeling of, yep, the world is about to end kind of dread. Okay, I don't know why I wanted to leave you with this, but it felt like a good option. So get ready, folks, for this feeling of dread.
A black night sky, the backdrop to a stunning showcase of nature's power. But authorities wasted no time getting people to safety.
We have begun preventative evacuation work in support of families who voluntarily ask for help to be evacuated from their homes. This is due to the risk posed by the high probability of increased volcanic activity at this time.
Shelters are set up to house people from nearby villages that sit in the path of dangerous lava flows and falling debris.
During the day you can't see it, but at night it's a serious thing, so you can't sleep. You stay alert to anything.
Volcanic activity is still ongoing. Experts call this the critical
That's terrifying.
Explosive phase, and it can last days.
The volcano produced a fountain of lava nearly 500 metres high that flowed down the volcano slopes. This eruption is classified as severe.
A nearby highway has been closed and schools have also been shut. While disaster plans appear to be working so far, memories of a deadly eruption in 2018 loom large. Officially, it claimed at least 190 lives, but some estimate the death toll was as high as 2,900.
We had to make decisions because you never know. Situations do happen, unfortunately, like in 2018, when it was far too late to react and many families lost their lives.
Some residents had been reluctant to leave their homes for fear of looting, but government officials say it's still not safe to return.
We're essentially talking about 2 more days, during which we have this window to understand the nature of what the volcano may do and what could happen.
An anxious wait for a community living in the shadow of one of the world's most active volcanoes. Rebecca Johnston, ABC News.
Imagine living there, right? Every day, just knowing that volcano could just blow its load all over you. What a terrifying way to exist. Far out. On that note, I've got to go pick up my child from school, but I will be back a bit later on. And tonight, if you loot my shit in an eruption, good for you. Yeah, just run, bro. Just run. The surrounding heat must be so hot there as well. Yeah, exactly. Didn't it snow in New Zealand? Yeah, in Christchurch. I'm ready to get balkanized later. Yeah, so tonight, guys, we're gonna be doing I want to learn about the Balkans region. So we're gonna be doing history docos, analysis, the politics. We're gonna be going over the Balkans region. I know very little about that region, so I want to learn. I'll be on a bit later, at around 7, between 7 and 8 New Zealand time, 7 or 8 p.m. New Zealand time, and we'll go through it. I won't be streaming on YouTube for that because YouTube gives me copyright issues, but we'll go through it. Earth and volcanoes have been doing the tango for the last 4 billion years. Yeah, totally. But we'll raid Segway. Thank you so much, My Clothes Brush. Thank you for the recommendation. Thank you so much, mods. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate all of you. Hey, Kalyani, welcome. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for the support, all the subs, all the gifts. Thank you. And yeah, let's do a round. Let's go around the Balkans today, and maybe it becomes a bit of a theme over the next few days as well. I'm really keen to get into it and learn about that region. So, are we ready for a raid, everybody? Are we ready to raid?
Consciousness. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine. Takite, everybody. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Catch you soon. Here we go, Raiders. Enjoy. Raid the volcano later. Raid the volcano later, Later, Justin. Here we go. And Kakite TikTok, Kakite YouTube, Kakite Facebook. I'll catch all of you soon. Kakite. What song is this? I generated the song. Boxy. I'll share it on Discord. Take care.